The man was hung from a tree. The bald executioner looked at him miserably. Then he kicked the ladder over. Suffocation makes the man struggle desperately. Under violent shaking, a watch fell off. Baldhead picked it up and took a look. There is also an unexpected gain. It's actually a Rolex. At this time, the man actually opened the rope. The blade in his hand slipped instantly. Baldhead full of disbelief. When he fell, he pulled out a pistol. The man looked at the bald head tremblingly, waiting for death to come. But because of excessive blood loss, he didn't pull the trigger in the end. He fell into a pool of blood. The man finally breathed a sigh of relief. His name is David, was a professional killer. Because I offended a black boss nicknamed Shoemaker, that's why he was hunted down by his men. 2 years later, David Incognito became an ordinary migrant worker. He also met a beautiful girlfriend, happy life, family happiness. But just today, a friend in prison suddenly called me. Their identities were discovered. If leaked, the gang will soon come for revenge. Got the news. David returns to the RV. Take out your ID, money and pistol. He is ready for everything. But suddenly a motorcycle came towards me in the distance. David looked at the driver warily. A little fat man in white got off the car. He greeted David cordially. Then he took out a piece of paper from his pocket. To express naively that my boss wants to see you, he put the note on the ground. Riding a motorcycle awkwardly. Leave quickly. Came to the address on the note. The second of the gang is responsible for reception. He took David to see the boss. It was he who found out David's identity. The boss once threatened David to join his gang. If you disagree, he called and informed everyone. At no choice, David finally agreed. His first task is to get a tube of poison. Go kill the boss's neighbor's tree. David's face was full of doubts. Is there something wrong with this old man's brain? But after all, the control is in other people's hands. I didn't dare to ask any more questions, so I could only do as I was told. Arrive at the destination and stay there. The neighbor just drove out. David takes out the poison and prepares for action. But at this moment, the second boss suddenly appeared again in a sports car. It turns out that the little fat man was on his way to trade, got into an accident while riding a motorcycle. Because the order is urgent, now we can only send David to execute it. As a result, the second boss handed over $440,000. David drove on the road like this. Arrive at the transaction location. David's unexpected discovery. Isn't this the place where I almost hanged myself? Don't think too much. Soon he completed the deal with Black Man. However, during the inspection, David thought of something. No one told him what the goods were. Maybe the boss wants to keep it a secret. I got in the car and started on the way back. But we haven't driven very far yet. The car suddenly broke down. Get off the car and take a look. It turned out that the tire was punctured. David had no choice but to stop repairs. Just when he had just removed the tire, a car appears from behind, still stopped beside him. David observed curiously, but suddenly, Black Man and his little brother got out of the car. He obviously wants to take advantage of others. Although David was shot, but not fatal enough. Black Man quickly chased after him and silenced him. David ran into the bridge hole on the side of the road. Black Man aims and shoots. One shot empty. After chasing him in, I only heard a few gunshots suddenly rang out on the bridge. It turns out this was David's plan. Not only did he kill his younger brother with his carbine, and stole the car, helpless Black Man could only shoot all the bullets. Vent your anger. Although David was not hit, but the fuel tank was leaked. Soon the engine started to smoke. Obviously unable to continue driving, David pulled the car to the side of the road. Then he hid in the dead grass. He took out the 2 packages from the car, began his journey of survival. Being gone for a long time, he saw a factory in the distance. There is a meeting car on the roadside. This is the best place to hide something. Put the package in the engine compartment. Take out $20,000 and wear it on your body. Planning to go to the factory for help. On the other side, Black Man actually called the second boss. It turns out that this is what he arranged. The purpose is to evade the boss. Instead, the second boss asked Black Man, "We must get the money and goods back. Otherwise everyone will die." Here David found a sports car in the factory. When I was about to smash the glass and steal the car, a security guard from the factory suddenly appeared. Saw David seriously injured. He didn't blame him. Instead, they asked him to go in for treatment. The security guard is an anime fan. I have collected many figures, but at this moment, David suddenly felt dizzy. His wound started to become inflamed. If not dealt with as soon as possible, will lead to serious consequences. You definitely can't go to the hospital. He can only trust this security guard. Let him remove the bullet from his body, to be on the safe side. David refused anesthesia. I endured the severe pain and completed the operation. The security guard showed no signs of hostility during the entire process. David thought he had met a good person. He paid $20,000 in return, but the security guard didn't accept it. Instead, I advised him to take a good rest, then turned around and left, closing the door. When David got dressed and was about to leave, only then did he realize that the door had been locked. It turns out that the security guard is not a good person. He has been testing David's background. Get the gun while the security guard is there. David blocked the door with a table. The room also has a back door. David found an iron pipe. It took just a few clicks to break the lock open. By this time the security guard had come back with a gun. The security guard hit me hard. The entire door is separated from the wall. He looked at David in horror. This factory. He laid many traps. But suddenly David exerted his strength. Kick it out. The security guard was kicked unconscious. David took the opportunity to escape. But we just arrived at the exit. But he was hit by someone. It turned out that Black Man was chasing after him. He avoided asking David about the location of his money and goods. And then the security guard appeared behind him. David kindly reminds. But Black Man didn't believe it at all. He won't be tricked twice by David. The security guard went down with an axe. Black Man died on the spot. David escaped with serious injuries. He hid in a warehouse. But the security guard was not worried at all. He just found David's cell phone and called his girlfriend. The security guard tricked the girl David into having a car accident. He needs to come and deal with it. David wants to stop, but there is nothing we can do. After hanging up the phone, the security guard said that after 2 hours, your girlfriend will appear here, unless David tells himself, where is the money and goods that Black Man said, otherwise you're welcome. David was helpless. I can only promise to give him all the money, but the goods are not good. He still has to go back and hand in the mission. Otherwise, you will also die. The security guard heard. I have the advantage now. How dare you negotiate terms? I want them all. David had no choice but to continue running away. Come to the second floor. He found the key in a room, but the door here is locked. Security is behind you. He could only hide first. David found a screwdriver in the hideout. Be ready for battle at any time. And behind him. But suddenly a figure appeared. David turned around suddenly. It turned out to be a kidnapped girl. The girl kicked her. David held the screwdriver to his throat. Fortunately, David explained in time, made the girl put down her arms. Both of them are the prey of security guards. They can only temporarily ally. Just when David was about to unshackle the girl, there was the sound of a car outside the room. Even the security guard ran over immediately when he heard it. David took the time to pry the lock, but no matter how hard I try, I can't open it. At this time, the sound of footsteps gradually came. David can only return to his original state first, then hid. The security guard came in with a woman. He carefully studied the girl's appearance. Then I discussed the price with the security guard. It turns out the security guard is a human trafficker. After negotiating the price, they took the girl away and loaded it into the car. David wrapped his fist with a cloth and smashed the glass. Take a shortcut and get to the truck early. Open compartment. David was shocked by the scene before him. What they are doing is actually selling human organs. This is not something that humans can do. Wait until the two of them bring the girl to the car. Sensitively aware that something is wrong. Bullets loaded. Be prepared. The moment you open the car door, thousands of wasps swarmed out. The girl took advantage of the chaos and ran away in a hurry. Come to the factory. David is waiting for him here. He's got the keys to the sports car. Just wait for the girls to escape together. The security guard chased the woman with him. At this time, the woman had been stung into a pig's head. They found blood on the ground, so I followed the bloodstains to a room, in order not to alert the snake. They also cooperated professionally. Woman asked security guard to help her, but then David's girlfriend called. He will arrive in half an hour. He heard screams on the phone, quickly asked what was going on. David smashed the car window with his arm, then start the car and start running away. The security guard chased him out calmly. Take out a key, push the button. Remote control flame out. The two had no choice but to get out of the car and run away separately. David has an injury on his leg. I can only hide in the iron room next to it. The girl ran forward desperately. The security guard calmly took aim with his gun. A gunshot. Girl falls to the ground. The security guard blocked the door of the iron house with stones, threatening David to reveal the location of the package. David vowed to die. The security guard threatened his girlfriend. Anyway, he will be there in a while. In despair, David can only compromise. After getting the location, the security guard left happily. David picked up the shovel and tried to dig a hole out. Go back to the room and pack your things. The security guard suddenly discovered. My favorite figure was actually damaged by David. Instant rage. He went back on his promise to David. Hook the iron house with a hook. Start car. Step on the accelerator. Houses rise instantly. Fortunately, David dug the hole in advance. Dodged a bullet. The security guard picked up the stones on the ground and chased him. A stone knocked him to the ground. When he was about to end his life, the boss is here with his people. Under threat of pistol, the security guard could only kneel down and surrender. The boss tied them both up. The second-in-command villain complained first. Accused David of wanting to keep money and goods for himself. The security guard nodded repeatedly when he heard this. It means that what the second boss said is right. He wanted to be silenced before he rose up to resist. David was speechless. We can only reveal the location of the package to prove our innocence. Open the hood of an abandoned car. The boss can't wait to inspect the goods. There are only a few videotapes in it. As for the more than 400,000 US dollars, already gone. David was also confused. He doesn't know where the money went either. The furious boss tied him to the back of the car. Then he ordered Fatty to drive the car and tow him away. But come around. Should David know or not? Whistle. Drag another circle. This time David started to look for opportunities to unlock the handcuffs. Second round of towing completed. The boss still doesn't get the answer. He told Xiaopang to wait for the password. This time the speed is doubled. Suddenly a girl drove by behind me. He wasn't actually shot, but lie in wait. Secretly took the money. The boss asked if the money was in that car. David saw the right moment. Take action suddenly. The second-in-command called Xiaopang to stop, but he didn't hear it. Just when he was about to take revenge on David with a gun, the security guard on the side also took action. The second boss was kicked over. There are also hallucinations in the eyes. I saw that the security guard had been put on a layer of filters. Slowly raise your fist. He was killed in one go. Little Fatty noticed something was wrong here. Wait for him to get off the car and check. The boss has expired. He could only drive the car and drag the boss to escape quickly. The security guard picked up the pistol on the ground. David also found weapons in the car, but he only has one bullet in his gun. At this time, the security guard caught up with him. The duel is about to take place. Did David win? It wasn't the security guard who screamed. The shot only knocked off one of his ears. The security guard wanted to rush forward angrily, but I didn't expect that David also had an explosive in his hand. The smoke disperses. The security guard is still struggling. David didn't notice. He starts the car. Calmly dial your girlfriend's phone number. Wish him peace. Driving out of the factory, the girl is waiting for her on the roadside with a package. The story ends here. If you like it, please like and subscribe.